This is
the Abyssinians.
The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is
The lion's voice. They had no fear at all. It was Ethiopian, must not, it was not, let him be praised. Ethiopian, must not, it was not, let him be praised.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the power to chant. Jah give her the power to chant. Ras Tafari, the lion's voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice, because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here, hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Them could never conquer the mountains. Thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. Now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. Well, for unto us a son was born and a child was given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from sky. Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Ras Tafari. Lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Rastafari, read Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then, born near the city of Harar, the inspiration from Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England or Cote d'Ivoire, no matter if you're brown or black like Qatar. Haile Selassie Sefi and all tribal war. Time fi gather Mount Zion, fi drive solar car from the car straight to Zanzibar. Who we are? The sons of Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Rastafari, when he was grown in airplanes he fly. Rastafari, the lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Rastafari, we do everything.
iRoots Records, an online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Rastafari books. Rastafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from Frontline Publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. Special invite for the Lion Pride. Use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come.
321 Productions and RBG Alliance presents the 3rd annual Conscious Reggae Concert Family Unity Fest, featuring the Abyssinians, Aisha Bell, Mary Isaacs, Ragalux, I Brave, and many more at the Jammings in New Kingston. 2,500 pre-sold, 3,000 at the door. Children under 12 for free. Don't miss the Abyssinians live in Kingston, Jamaica. Can't be missed. History.
In the haunting echoes of violence against women in St. Anne, Jamaica, a mysterious vigilante emerges. For the Woman Painted Purple unfurls a gripping narrative of empowerment, retribution, and the pursuit of justice. Brenda and her group sisters bond together in therapy over their common struggles, but soon their group becomes the subject of an investigation. As the vigilante's actions escalate, the relentless detective, Officer Woodley, races to unmask the mystifying figure. For the Woman Painted Purple is a pulse-pounding tale that explores the boundaries of justice, revenge, and the fighting spirit. This thrilling saga delves into the complexities of dealing with mental health, domestic abuse, and finding love after. Own your copy today. Visit www.devanigreen.com.
This is The Black Heart Man, Rastafari children's picture book, with hand-painted illustrations and rhythmic storytelling. This is a journey you do not want to miss. We offer worldwide shipping, so order your copy today at www.degreerspaintbrush.com. Alternatively, you can order your copy from TikTok. If you are interested in stocking the book, please email us at degreerspaintbrush@gmail.com. Give thanks.
Jamaica to Toronto. The Rastafest movement rises again. This August 15 and 16, Rastafest 2026 returns to Little Jamaica in Toronto with reggae music, Rastafari culture, Ital food, arts, reasoning, and unity. But this year, it's more than a festival. Rastafest is partnering with the Rastafari mansions and organizations to support the Relief, Rebuild, Rise initiative, helping Rastafari families and communities rebuild, resist the risk of disasters, and to rise to their true potential. This is culture with a cause. Full joy the music, support the mission. Donate to the Relief, Rebuild, Rise GoFundMe through the link in the RMO Jamaica Instagram profile. Rastafari.
Save the date. Join us on Sunday, August 9th, 2026 at 5 p.m. for the 25th annual fundraiser for the Shashamane Foundation at the Silver Spring Civic Center, Great Buffalo Hall in Silver Spring, Maryland. Come be a part of an evening that helps transform lives by supporting quality education and sustainable development at the JRDC School in Shashamane, Ethiopia. Your presence and generosity help empower children, strengthen communities, and build a brighter future. Can't attend? You can still make a difference by donating at shashamane.org or by scanning the event QR code. Mark your calendar, bring your family and friends, and let's build a lasting legacy together. We'll see you there. Rastafari TV and Sight Media are proud sponsors of the Shashamane Foundation.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Welcome to a pop-up episode of Lion Talk Live. We have a very special guest. We are ending Ras Tafari month here on the channel in a mightyful fashion. Tonight, we welcome the chaplain of New York State. Me never say city, you know. Me say New York State, you know. That means every city in a New York are this brethren responsible to bring Rastafari to the prison inmates. We're going to hear his story. But most importantly, we're going to be exploring a history that we're no stranger to here. That's one thing I'm proud of. It was first brought to the fore by our now ancestor, Elder Pennycook. We did a deep dive into the history. We went through, document, share screen is one of our classic episodes with our ancestors, Elder Pennycook. So if you haven't seen that, go forward and check it out. We talked about the Prophet, Grover Redding, James Webb, the whole thing, So you can check that out. We've also had our brother Nigos Atu, Kamal. He also touched the history as well. But tonight we are gonna go deep, family. So you have to get your ital snacks, get your meditation ready, and be prepared, because this brethren, we going, the brethren sent I a picture. We're going to put up the picture. And I've seen it before, but not in a long time. And, it's just mightyful. And I want to make something clear here, because this is a little bit of controversial topic. I'm born in Jamaica, and I know a lot of my brethren who are Africans born in Jamaica, take a lot of pride that Rastafari started in Jamaica. This was before we had all of the information. The thing with information is that we have to update the information as it becomes available. One thing I don't do, particularly as an attorney, is I don't fight facts. Unless someone produce other facts, then we just have to go with the facts. And it is more glory, because if we say Haile Selassie is the Almighty, then we have to acknowledge that wherever the information touch first, that is gonna spark the hearts of mankind. That being said, I'm very clear. Rastafari started in Ethiopia. There's no contesting that. But now what we have learned is that in the Western Hemisphere, Black Americans were the first to embrace the divinity. And we're going to go into that history tonight. So share the link, make sure that the item spread it out, because this one is an instant classic that I can tell you this one will live on for the ages. That being said, before we bring forward the guests, let me just big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. We are 79,000 strong. Just touched 79,000. We're on our way to 80,000. And you know, when we hit 80,000, we're going to have our 80,000 subscriber episode. We're going to have a special guest episode, the whole works. You know how we do it here. We're on our way to 100,000, which is our goal for the year. So we give thanks. We have 53 people in our Patreon, Lion Pride on Patreon. I'm going to announce the recipient of our Lion Pride on Patreon Community Works grant for July. Every month we are giving away $100 US to a worker in the Rastafari community who's doing works, and this is unrestricted funds. It's a small token. We know it's not a lot of money, but for people who are not in America, it can make a world of difference. And we're saying with this money, if they take it and go to the spa, we are so happy that they do that. Because a lot of time the people doing the works, nobody's checking on them to see if they okay, if they have a light bill that they have a youth that need feeding. You know what I mean? A lot of time the people who are doing the works, they're quiet when they're going through things, you know. So we want to start a trend here on the Lion Voice Network where we are giving forward to the ones doing the work. I want to big up all the Lion Pride on Patreon, our monthly subscribers. Big up yourself, Ras Super, big up Ras Roots, all of the ones them who are here early. Without them, we couldn't do this. We have 53 strong. Our goal is 100 in the Patreon by the end of the year. So we need the item to come off of the fence and join our community. We have a vision of creating a powerful community that's going to shake up the whole Rastafari Pan-African space with works, with what we're doing. So when you see I here as the host, just know that there's a community building around I and ones who support the vision. Big up Robbie Shilliam, the chair of the, I believe it's the sociology department at Johns Hopkins University, Rastafari Brethren, who's our latest member in the Lion Pride on Patreon. Top tier Brethren and sistren who are there, the networking. Big up Abba Yahuda. How many people saw the Abba Yahuda episode? Put in the comments if you saw the Abba Yahuda episode. He joined us at our town hall meeting. We just had a town hall meeting Sunday and the Brethren. We're going to put it up on Patreon. So if you're not a member of Patreon, go to the Patreon. You can join for free. We post all of the town hall meetings after the town hall meetings for free on the Patreon. So go and check it out. Deep, you know, we went into the ecclesiastical thing deep. So for those who love the high level reasoning, Abba Yahuda came and blessed us in the town hall reasoning. So you might want to check that out. Also, tomorrow we welcome Bongo Jerry Small, 7 p.m. We are welcoming our elder, and we're going to talk about the future of Rastafari. We're going to have the elder future cast for us, futuristic. What does he see for the movement? What would he like to see for the movement? Because a lot of time we go into the history, but we never ask the Asians, what did they want to see? What was their ideal? You know what I mean? Because now that we're actively constructing Zion on earth, the manifestation of the glory of Kadamawi Haile Selassie, we want guidance from our Asians. So Bongo Jerry is going to share that with us tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we are welcoming the instructors for the ARC, Association of Rastafari Creatives Virtual Summer Camp. So if the item have Rastafari youths, go to rastafaricreatives.com, enroll them in the summer camp, have them connect with Rastafari youths around the world so they can see they're not alone. Top tier Rastafari teachers and instructors And the theme is building the community of tomorrow using STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. They'll be learning. It's a dynamic. There'll be breakout rooms for the different age groups from 6 to 18 years old. We have to put attention to our youths. So make sure you go to RastafariCreatives.com, sign up. It's pay what you can afford so we don't turn away any families. The idea is just, we got to do something for our young people. Our young people are, there's no programming. We have gatherings, they're running around. There's no programming for them. They're on their phones. This is about us coming together now as a global family and saying, no, this is all about the IDEM. There's no other agenda but what the IDEM are doing. So if you have young people, RastafariCreatives.com, sign them up. Let them build a global network of Rastafari brethren and sistren as well. You know what I mean? So big up the ARC family. They'll be here on Wednesday. So today, tomorrow, Wednesday, we're ending Lich Tafari month strong, and then we're gonna kick off Pan-African History Month. My brethren Bingi Shan of Habesha will be joining us from Ghana, West Africa. We're gonna go into some works that he has going on. He's coming to America to do a tour. It's gonna be a mightyful time. We are growing in strength, over 5,000 watch hours for the month, 5.5. That means people are not just clicking, they're watching. Over 100,000 views for the month. I couldn't do it without the IDEM. Keep on spreading the word, keep on watching the content. Let us show the world that Rastafari independent, non-aligned media is bigger than CNN, bigger than BET. I and I are something to behold, and we have something to offer. So big up. Also big up Frontline Books, big up all of our sponsors, Griot's Paintbrush, our children's book author. Support the ecosystem. If I show the item a video, support the ones them. You know what I mean? These are all Rastafari business people. If we're divesting from Babylon, we have to invest in our community, in our creatives. And that being said, let me just introduce our latest sponsor. I'm going to bring forward the guest. He's here, he's waiting. Don't worry yourself, but we have to take care of business.
Central Florida, are you ready? The African Culture School Incorporated and Heights of Life Music proudly presents the 4th annual Marcus Garvey Music Fest, Saturday, August 15th at Ras State in Claremont, Florida, featuring Lutan Fire, backed by Rhythm Rebel Band. Also performing live, Andy Heights, Ainike, Esau, One Journey, Javerse, Royal Chanter, Asaf Widimaya, and many more incredible artists. Vibes provided by Unity Sound, Rastek, Royal Ethiopian Sound, Jawise, and Blackfoot Movements. Hosted by Davani, but it's more than just music. Enjoy Community Entrepreneur Awards, Organic Seed Exchange, live art installation and auction, back to school giveaways, free health screenings. Come celebrate the legacy and vision of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Saturday, August 15th, sponsored by Branding 101, One Trust Home Loans, and Cypress Cove Marina and Resort.
Big up the Marcus Garvey Music Fest. When we're building the architecture of Zion, part of that is the events that we produce as a community. If you notice, our events have the music, they have the seed exchange, they have all of the aspects. So we want to support our promoters who are designing, curating these experiences. Make sure you support the Marcus Garvey Music Fest. We're going to have the Eventbrite information. Even if you can't go, let's, as a Lion Pride, we are a different set. Let us purchase the tickets. Even if we can't go, let us purchase the tickets so that our promoters and our events cannot fail. And these are the templates that we're bringing home to Africa. These are the type of events that we are providing in this Armageddon as Babylon fall. Communal experiences. We need these for our mental health. We need these for everything that we're doing. So big up Marcus Garvey Fest, all of the sponsors. If you have an event and you want to promote it here, reach out. We have reasonable rates for our community. We are working together again to create an ecosystem, the economy, I'm calling it, of righteousness. Just like wickedness have a economy with war and the military industrial complex and kill people, but people are make money. We want to lift up people and people are make money same time. So the economy of righteousness is what we're designing, what we're building, what we're launching. This is the Rastafari independent non-aligned media, part of the ecosystem. So support your media, support your creators, support everyone. Together we will rise. We have to fund our independence. All right, so that being said, let me end the housekeeping and bring forward our guests again. Tonight, this one is going to be a classic. This brother, this is a long time in the making. Big up I Never Knew TV as well. The brethren was on I Never Knew TV. That was when I first really taken me in. And we give thanks to, from that time still, I reach out and brethren, so when in due season, and a lot of brethren are like that. I'm in constant contact with different people. So don't feel like we're going to run out of guests anytime soon, because every day I get links with different ones from all over creation. And the time has come now to introduce the idem to Ras Floyd Jarvis. Give a warm lion talk welcome to the brethren. Royal greetings, family.
Yes, I, Rastafari.
Eyes is eye, eyes is eye. Can you put your phone like this, King?
Twist the next way?
Yes, yes, yes. Landscape it. There we go. Now just give it some adjustment on it.
Hold on, let me expand it first.
Yes.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
Is that good?
Yeah, just get in the frame. Let me see if you get in the frame. Do you have a book or anything you can put underneath it?
I'm using all my books here, Bridget. The book is not for sure.
All right, put it back long way. Put it back long way. Put it back because the framing, yeah, we work with it. We work with it. All right. All right. Give thanks and Isis. So we have a tradition here on the Lion Talk show, and that is we're going to ask the eye to step into our Lion Talk time machine and to take us to the moment of the eye birth and to give us your origin story. A lot of our youths go and watch these comic book movies and see the origin story of these superheroes, but we want them to know these fire angels never just come as fire angels. They also have origin stories. So paint the picture. I know this is a blockbuster movie, and bring us to your contact with Rastafari and how you came into Rastafari liberty.
Yes, sir. As you asked me that question, I'm looking around. You see me looking around. I'm looking around for my memoir, because I began a memoir.
Okay, give thanks.
You could when I read it, you could smell it, feel it, touch it. It'll literally take you right there. But
give us a sneak preview. Give us a sneak preview.
Well, I didn't know that.
No, from your heavens, from your heavens. I live this, so we want it from the eye heavens. Just where were you born? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Where are you from? Where are your parents from? Give us the history.
Yes, sir. So to that question, I was born in Linden, Guyana, right, in 1985. Trotted here about 1989 to the north, to the gathering of the north, as the title says. That's when I trotted here in this Gideon. And one of the things that I did notice as a youth in this iration is the difference between a Ras and a non-Ras, as it were. Even from a tender age, I always, just from the sight of a Bengi, I always was keen to them in which I am now. So now when I'm in this trot, I know, as Sizzler says, in in the ghetto youth's ears, your name is ringing. So always be aware that they're watching and looking.
Serious.
Yes, I.
So, where did you drop when you came from Linden, Guyana, in America? Where did you first reside?
Well, I drop in the cold as we all did in JFK International Airport.
Okay.
But where were we? We were in what we call either Brownsville on the 90s, Rockaway
Okay.
between Rutland, before moving to Canarsie, Brooklyn in the mid 90s.
Okay. So for those who are international, these are some serious areas that you just called. You know what I mean? These are some very serious. When you talk about 90s in Brooklyn, you talk about Brownsville. These are some notorious zones. What was your experience growing up as a youth in these areas? And these are heavily Caribbean areas as well.
Well, we're not that you ask to glorify the badness, but we're not too, see it. So we could forward into the trot still, which is I grew up in a Christian home. My
Yeah.
father was a Assemblies of God bishop, right?
Okay.
He's semi-retired. He's a farmer now in Georgia, and he would
Okay.
always ask me about, or he would always implore me, encourage me to beat my Psalms, my Proverbs, and I never did. I never.
Yeah.
You don't. What Daddy telling you to do, you don't want to listen, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
or you just put it off for a later date, right? Then he began doing missionary work in Southern Africa, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Botswana. I know I'm missing somewhere. Malawi, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, right? And now when he's coming back home. This is from about 97 forward with a lot of African artifacts. And also beating Bob Marley's playing Bob in the house now. So
Yes. Yes.
you already know.
Yes, sir.
The rest is history, as it were. So yeah, from there I started cleaving to the black, as Paul Bogle says.
Okay. So, where did you go to high school? In Canarsie?
I went to night school in Canarsie. But I
Okay.
went to high school in the city, High School for Health Professions and Human Services on
Okay.
15th. And you know what? That is a good reference too, because going to school in the city, after school I would try to Tower Records or Virgin Records to
Yes.
to really listen to the deep roots you get. That was part of my introduction. And then also
Okay.
over there in the late high school years, over there in Belmont Lounge was a famous spot Sunday nights. Um,
Yes.
real Rastafari liberty there. So that also
Okay.
grabbed the eye.
So you were attracted from a young age to Rastafari. You didn't go, did you go through a hip hop phase or just straight to Farai?
I mean, any ghetto you grown in the city of New York, you wouldn't even call it a hip hop phase. That's just life. You
Yeah.
understand? And so it wasn't yeah. So that's the answer to that question.
So who are some of the artists, hip hop artists that they had check for
Well,
as a
now
youth?
in my formative years, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
big Bad Boy fan, Bad Boy Records fan.
Okay. Okay.
Like, all
Yeah. I mean,
all
Biggie Smalls, Brooklyn, it makes sense. You know what I mean?
not even just Biggie, Mace, G Dep, Black Rob, all the
Okay.
Puff Daddy,
Okay.
any
Okay.
artist, Sherry Dennis, we could go deep. You
Yeah.
understand? But slowly but surely, I started checking for the Far Eye.
Okay. Okay. And what was the impetus? What was drawing you? What was calling you about Rastafari at that young age? Was it the Bob Marley playing in the house, or what was the spark?
Keep it a buck. When I was 16, my father, for my 16th birthday, my father and I went forward home to Guyana,
Yes.
and I don't know, that trip there, it just, I just got in touch with my blackness. That like I was informed. Nobody told me, but just on that trip, I was informed of who I am and where I'm from, and from
Yeah.
there, all the far eye was calling me.
Okay. And when was your first knowledge of the emperor? Like when you start check, because there's one thing about the culture, you know, you love the red, gold, and green, the music, but then there's another level now where you start checking the emperor. When did that happen?
You know, when I tried to college,
Yes.
I went to my first college was SUNY Cobleskill. It was upstate. I went there to run cross country, and that's when I started flying my Nati, agreeing with everything about Rastafari, but I couldn't fully over is the divinity of a man. You understand that
Yeah,
part?
yeah.
It wasn't registering, but I was getting everything else. And as I often tell my congregation, which is about 300 IIs are incarcerated individuals.
Okay.
I often tell them that it hit me. So I did time as well, right? I did
Yeah,
about
yeah.
3.5 years. Uh, it
How many
hit me
years? How many
three and
years?
three and a
Three and a
half.
half. Okay, okay.
It
In
hit me when
what
I was on the
facility? What facility?
not to load up the thing. Aya,
Okay, all right, all right, all right.
watch out. So
Whatever they are
watch.
comfortable with. Yeah, man. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Nah, I was in Green on Mount McGregor. But
Okay.
what was I saying?
You're saying
It's
it hit you.
not until I was on the chow line in Ulster County and I was surrounded by nothing but black man. There's not a movie, there's not no slave movie, there's real life. I'm not in Lagos, I'm not in Addis, I'm not in Dakar. I'm upstate and it's bare black
Yes.
man amongst me. And I said to myself, how are this? Black man must be God for them to set up all these trap like this. You overs? So from
Yes.
there,
I would tell you I had a similar experience on the other side when I started practicing law. I was working for a small law firm and I was doing criminal, some of the criminal cases, and I was trotting to all the courts in Maryland, doing appearances, stepping in for the lead attorney. I tried a couple of cases, but the thing that struck me is no matter where I went in Maryland, all of the defendants, you would sit in court all day, black man, black man, black man, black man, black man. I don't even know if I saw a white person. And I mean, this is Charles County. These are some far, I'm not talking PG. We'd expect PG Montgomery County. I'm talking some place where I'm driving and I'm passing Amish in their car, in their buggy. You know what I mean? You don't see a black person on the road. It's just white people, but you get in that criminal court and black man, and that's when it clicked for me that this is this is an industrial scale system that's being operated on. So the experience is serious, but continue. The divinity. Talk to us about reconciling the divinity of Kadamawi Haile Selassie the First.
yeah, once it hit me on that child line, I psyched up the far eye and that was it. It was a wrap after that. Like, because as aforementioned, I overs everything else, and that just made me firm in the liberty. And now, I am a big proponent of the message. And I must say, who gave me this message? This message was given to me by my elder, one of my elders, uh, McConnon. You had him on here a few
Yes.
months ago.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. A
pick
good
up.
brethren. Good brethren.
Yes, I. So he a few years back, a few years forward still, he impressed upon me the message of emulation over veneration. And that message is gonna lead us throughout this conversation.
Okay.
Tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So take us through the transformation once you embrace that? How did your livity elevate, or what changed within the eye after embracing that truth?
What changed within the eye? Well, I became more disciplined, more grounded,
Yes,
and also too, I completed my studies. I have a BA in Africana Studies, and
yes,
there is no other discipline. There are many disciplines in academia, but if there
yes,
is one that is well situated for Rastafari, it will be the discipline of Africana Studies, because
yes,
you're getting holistic blackness, whether from sociology, literature, languages, society and culture, the law. You're getting a holistic wraparound view of blackness throughout the
yes.
diaspora. So that helped to everything balance.
Give thanks, give thanks. So, um, talk to us about the journey to being inside to now becoming the chaplain for the entire state of New York.
So when I when I when I got in there, uh, I never forget. There was a brethren holding service, leading the facilitator in the prison, leading service. A fella and I remember him reading strictly from like Matthew and Philemon, and he would give you off to give the sermon from One Must. You understand? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, some of it was Irie, but I remember turning to Ij and I'm like, yo, why the brethren always reading from the New Testament, right? He touched the Old Testament. And then he kind of nudged me and he was like, that brother, he's on some New Testament thing. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
oh. And then the same elder nudged me. He's like, don't worry, Nati, go through. Before you leave, you're gonna be leading service. And sometimes that's all you need from an
yes,
elder nudging you and saying, go through. Whether they might be joking, but not knowing you take this thing very serious.
yes,
You
yes,
understand? And so said, so done. By the time I left forward, I was leading Rastafari services in Green as well as Mount McGregor. And I met some real heartical Ijan. Big up Survivor, big up Elder, big up Uncle Frank. Germs, big up yourself anywhere that Spain land you. You heard
okay,
Sniper, the whole of
okay.
them on them. Yes, I. GT, I
Yeah,
could go on.
give thanks, give thanks. So once that happened now and you came out of the hell, because those places is hell. Once you came out now, what was the journey to becoming the chaplain as official?
Enough works, enough works. So naturally being away from your home, you miss your home. So as soon as I touched, I became inseparable from my community. I started doing a lot of community work. Um, and I became which one was first? I became the program manager for the CUNY Brooklyn College BLMI. It's the Black and Latino Male Initiative. Um, it is to matriculate, graduate, retain Black male youth within the CUNY system.
Yes.
From that, I went on to study public and urban policy at the New School. And
Okay.
during that time, I studied under the tutelage of Professor Derek Hamilton, one of the foremost economists in the world, but also in the
Okay.
nation. Um, and during that time, was a fight in New York State to legalize the herb.
Yes.
And I was called to go to Albany to speak on behalf of legacy market operators. A legacy market operator is at least 5 to 10, 15, 20 years prior to legalization. For more than half of your income, you either sold, grew, or curated some type of cannabis, right? That makes you a legacy market operator. So when New York was legalizing the herb, I said to myself, hold on, I know that the man them started this. So I started doing research and I stumbled upon, do I have it here? See, the one book I forgot to take out. I stumbled upon a book called The Ganja Complex, Rastafari and Marijuana by Ainsley Hamid.
Okay.
And I found Professor Hamid on through Facebook and I said, hey, is this you? Man, who told me to ask this old man this? Um, it was the far right that told me to ask this old man this because it literally revived him. It sparked something in him anew that someone would be so interested in this book that he published in 1997 that's not getting a lot of traction, but it's getting whole
Yeah.
heap of traction now because New York is set out to legalize cannabis. And what this study,
Yes.
what this book was, what this book is, was an ethnographic study of Afro Trinidadian youth that migrated to the United States after the passage of the Hart-Celler Immigration Act of 1965, who helped to fortify the illicit cannabis market in the United States, but New York City specifically. The crux of the book says that these young men who were hell-bent on drinking alcohol, committing petty crimes, overthrowing the government, found Rastafari and found marijuana and became prudent, ambitious businessmen and successful paterfamilias. Paterfamilias, what that mean? I have to look it up. I look it up, it means male head of household. Oh shucks, this is the man them. You understand? So
Yeah.
so I I didn't run with it. I moved forward with it diligently through the
Yes.
far
Yes.
right, right? And so that's when I started to gather. Remember, we talking about gathering the
Yes.
elders.
Yes.
I created an organization called Ganja War Veterans for Equity to find these men that Professor Hamid was talking about in the book. In the book,
Okay.
it says that one of the books where you have to change up the names because you already know the Schweppes. So
Yeah.
he said that through these illicit funds, they would send money forward home. They would open ITIL stores. They would open craft shops, leather stores. This. And I said, wait, I know this. This is so and so. This is so and so. Yo, this is you, right? He said, yeah. Come in. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that going on. So that was a joy for me. So that became my niche of or part of my niche. That's how I got introduced to Local 12, EWF Local 12, because
Yes.
not so non-quant real quick teachable moment, non-quantifiable quantity words. You have some, you have many, you have enough, you have more. I don't like to use those. So only one non-quantifiable quantity word I like to use is enough, because when it's enough. So enough elders were or are in Local 12.
Yes.
So I joined there, and along with Sister Cheryl, we helped to push it forward. So at one of the there were two specific meetings, one in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and one in Harlem at the State Building, on the same corner where Garvey spoke, where Adam Clayton Powell Jr. spoke, as well as Ras the Killer spoke. Um, Queen Mother Moses was on the mic. But first, let's tell you about the episode in Williamsburg. She was on the mic,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I didn't see her in years, right? Because she was in this position prior to me.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so she was on the mic, and I tapped my brother, and I said, "Yo, that was the chaplain when I was upstate in prison." So I just happened to be speaking after her. So when I when I'm speaking now, I said, "This is the second time me meeting Queen Mother Moses." She may not remember, but the first time I was an incarcerated individual at where was I in Green Correctional, and she came to minister to us. And you already know Queen Mother Moses, how she would have received that. Yes, I. So it was a great reception. Um, I cannot remember if she no, she did. She did bring it to me that time.
Yes.
But
Yes.
now looking forward on it, it's like duh. When she brought it to me the first time, not that I didn't believe it, but I what's the word? It didn't register the depth of what I was being called to do. It's not what Queen Mother
Yes,
Moses was
yes.
telling me to do. I didn't recognize the depth of what I'm being called to do. So the second time we in Harlem, and this time she literally nudged me. She said, "Take the job. We need some man like you in the state." I'm like, Floyd, you was just there. You just come in fresh and you left. Y'all run Rasta service. Duh, what do you think you went there for? To cook in a hot pot? You understand? To cook noodles in a hot pot? No, to do job work. So I'm like, oh shucks, yes. Speak, Lord, for thy servant, hear it. Like the one Samuel. So from there, I've been trotting. So
Yeah.
that's how this happened.
Give thanks, give thanks. And then you came upon some serious information because we want to get into the topic. I know a lot of people are eating their ital snacks and they say, all right, we'll give thanks. We know about the brethren now. Get to the topic, Ras. We want to know what the brethren have to say. This information, we want to talk about the title of the episode. Did Rastafari begin in the United States? And to show you how crucial it is, the brethren is not originally from America. The brethren tell you he's from Guyana. So it's just research that the brethren is doing. And he's going to share some information and we're going to reason about it. Let me just big up our comment section. We do have the greatest comment section on the planet Earth. I'm going to say that. You know what I mean? I am qualified to say that because I interact with the comment section every time we go live and I see the vibes. I see the people greeting them one another. And our comment section is not a yes man factory. You know what I mean? People have disagreements. So we have diversity of opinion. We have people who are not Rastafari who still want comment, but we love them same way. You know what I mean? So we are the greatest comment section. So put your comments as the information is coming up. I'm going to try to get questions if you have questions, but this is intended as a deep dive into this information. Again, it's not new information here on the Lion Voice Network. We're cutting edge when it comes to Rastafari thing, but we're going to go deep tonight because this brethren has been diligent in terms of his work. So I'm going to turn it over to the eye to share this information with I and I.
Yes, firstly, I should have done this earlier, but we can do it here now. I want to open up in a quick prayer.
Yes, I.
Bless me, well, Woman, Feskidos, Adon Malak, Kadu Selassie, Hail Selassie, Exio Tashalin, Rastafari. So, we're going to start with certain prophecies, right? Jeremiah 3:18 and Jeremiah 31:8.
Okay.
Is it a coincidence that it's Jeremiah 3:18 and Jeremiah 31:8? So let us see Jeremiah 3:18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. That's Jeremiah 3:18. Now we turn to Jeremiah 31. Hold on there. Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coasts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame. Yes, the woman with child and her that travaileth with child together, and a great company shall return thither. Rastafari. So, firstly, as you said, we know this is but it shouldn't be. Nah, it should not be a touchy subject because we passed that. We passed that a long time ago. As you said, we now have the affirmation. It shouldn't be a touchy subject. It shouldn't be controversial. in any, as one of my agents say, any form or fashion, rather. But there's a deep history of Rastafari here in the North Country, in North America, in the United States, as it were, in the West, in the Occident, as it were. The whole thing is the West. The whole thing is the West. When you check it, from Nova Scotia to Chile, the whole thing is the West. But if we want to compartmentalize and instead of organizing and centralizing, then we could have at it. But the whole thing is in the West, and there were deep roots of Rastafari here in the West. But we must declare, firstly, and always, I find it strange when ones on one say that Rastafari started in Jamaica. Every time I hear that, I used to get angry, but now I just feel sad for the whoever's saying that, because at this current juncture, it's tantamount to ignorance. Rastafari was born in Ethiopia. Lich Tafari was born July 23rd, 1892, July 23rd, 1885 in the Ethiopian calendar. He later graduated to Jajazmach Tafari and then Rastafari, and then became Haile Selassie I. So Rastafari originated in Ethiopia. Anyone after 7/27/2026 watching this video that says anything otherwise could be like the tree that the shaft that the wind drives away. You understand? Because there's no reason for you to be promoting such folly and error in this present day. Rastafari was born in Ethiopia, and Rastafari began in Ethiopia. And then he later on sent his emissaries, as prophesied in Isaiah, to the west, right? And from there we could begin in 1919. But before we begin in 1919, I just want to run across the screen some books that we're going to be checking out from, or books that you could read to help develop your knowledge in what I'm saying. So we have The City of Black Souls, Chicago, Ethiopianism, and the Black Apocalyptical Imagination by Kai Parker. He's an assistant professor of African American religious history at the University of Virginia. This takes a deep dive of Ethiopianism in Chicago at that time. But funny enough, I got this book just to look up the bibliography for Prophet Grover Redding and his chargee Oscar McGavick, and it could not be found. But it's still a good read. Of course, we have the Misnomer here by Helen Lee, The First Rasta, Leonard Howell, The Rise of Rastafarianism, and it's very important because this should be a guide and where to look for. But it's like people see this and they read it and they just brush it off. That is willful ignorance, and we're not here for that. Not tonight. We also have Black Land, Imperial Ethiopianism, and African America by Sister Nadia Nurasain. She gives an account of the Chicago episode of Idris Grover Redding. In the Cause of Freedom, right? Radical Black Internationalism from Harlem to London, 1917 to 1939. There's some heavy hitters in this book. Padmore, C.L.R. James, Ras Monalulu, you understand? T. Ross McCunnan, Malachi Bayan. I believe Howard was mentioned in this book also. Chosen People by James S. Dorman, The Rise of American Black Israelite Religion. Rastafari don't need to be arguing with no Hebrew Israelite on a street corner. You just notify them who their father is, who started this before they got co-opted. Tell them about Rabbi Ford and Rabbi Wentworth Matthew, and the argument done. Rastafari. So those are some of the books we're going to be checking from, as well as the 1919 Library of Congress report on the Chicago race riots that gives a explicit account of the Abyssinian affair. Rastafari.
I love that because, I am the reading Ras. So I love when I see a brethren come with books so that I can deepen our knowledge. And we don't want to You know, a lot of brethren burn out the book Ras them, which is totally against the teaching of His Majesty. Regardless if you live in the hills and you're barefoot, you should have your true berry of books and knowledge, you know, from the ancient scrolls. You know, literacy is from anciency. So anciency and literacy and search for knowledge and education are not mutually exclusive. So this is right in line. His Majesty would be well pleased with the brethren, and is well pleased with the brethren, because he's not just coming here to talk. He even bringing his sources. So, you know what I mean? Well articulated. So the main thing, and to my Jamaican family, you know, because some people, this will be the first time they're hearing this information. There's nothing to make I feel sad, nothing to make I shame, because Jamaica is responsible for the global spread of Rastafari. There's no question about that. And one of the things I want to find out from the eye is what happened to the Rastafarites in America, and where did it, you know, why did it not take on, you know, it's like the parable of the sower. You know, I attribute it to you throw the seed and the soil was not very deep, and the plant grows up, but it doesn't sustain it, it withers. Whereas Jamaica had the fertile soil, you know what I mean, that soil down there, those Africans down there were the ones who really got the message. And it's evident because Jamaica's the only place when His Majesty came that hailed him through the lens of his divinity. You know what I mean? In his fullness of the glory, Jamaica gave a vision to the world that we know who this man is. And I look at Jamaica as Judah, just like how Judah rallied around David first. You know what I mean? I ascribe that. But we're getting beyond the reasoning. Let's start with
No, we still in the reasoning, because the reason, as the scripture says, some will sow and others will reap.
Exactly. So I want to start though with the emissaries, and we have an ascendant regent on the throne, Ras Tafari. He's already a legend in Ethiopia. He is the supreme governor, although Empress Zaiditu is the titular or the head on the throne. But in terms of the administration of government, this young legendary Ethiopian is already running things. He's 3 years into his appointment as a regent heir to the throne. We're in 1919. I want you to set the stage and give the history of his interaction with Black America.
So I'm going to make this point to stick a pin right there. You said 3 years into the throne, right? So this and one
hold on. Yeah, it's cutting out. I don't know what's happening. Can you hear I?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, it's cutting out a little. Let me know in the comments if the item can hear the brethren, or if it's just my connection. Let me know in the comments, Lion Pride, if you can hear. Talk, let me hear.
Whoa, man, Rescue, No Malak, Do Selassie, Exio, Tash.
Okay, it's glitching a little, but continue. Let me know in the comments, family, if you're hearing the brethren. Okay, it's cutting out. They're saying it's cutting out as well. But continue. Let's work on it.
Nervous. I'm speaking. And is it still cutting out?
We can hear the I now. We're hearing the I now.
Now.
All right. Some people are saying it's breaking up a bit. Some people saying Bongo Wise, he says he's hearing clearly. So but let's go and we'll work it out. If I need to repeat, because sometimes we have a character on this channel called Wi-Fi Guy, and sometimes when the reasoning get too high frequency Wi-Fi the guy want pop up and become a main character on the channel. You know what I mean? But we work around him and we don't fear him. You know what I mean? We just do what we have to do. So just talk. If we have to repeat, we'll repeat. Go ahead.
And so Rastafarites, right? Got free, right?
Okay, it chipping out bad on my side. I don't know. I'm gonna ask all of the principalities and power. Let us cut and clear the way. This is heavy information. Mecca and I just hear the information. Yeah, go out and come back in. Talk again. Let me hear. If
Were you hearing me clearly prior when I was giving the testimony? Is only now
yeah,
where we're ready to start?
yeah. Before now, it was perfect. That's why I say Wi-Fi the guy. But if we have to go out and come back in, but I can hear the I now. So go from now.
All right. So 1919, he sent his emissaries by ship to renew a treaty of commerce that Emperor Menelik signed in 1904. Right? So when he sent these emissaries, they made stops in Harlem, all along DC, as well as Chicago. Right? This is in 1919, 1919.
Yes.
And to this effect, it had a great hold on Harlem and Chicago. A group of, in the papers it says Negroes, but in the group I don't use that word. I prefer Ethiopians or black people rather.
Yes. Yes.
A group of black people in Chicago, headed by Grover Redding, started the Star Order of Ethiopia. Right. As a matter of fact, I don't have to freestyle. That account could be found here. So I'll read the opening account of this book, Black Land, Imperial Ethiopianism, and African America. Right? So, intro.
Continue.
Yes. 3 years after the bloody Chicago race riot of 1919, during which post-war racial tensions erupted into violence that resulted in dozens of deaths and hundreds of injuries, the Chicago Commission on Relations published The Negro in Chicago, a study of race relations and a race riot. In a chapter called The Abyssinian Affair, the commission recounted the story of the Star Order of Ethiopia, a small group of Negroes styling themselves as Abyssinians, who on June 20th, 1920, publicly and ceremonially burned 2 American flags. According to the Chicago Commission, the flag burning intended to symbolize the feeling of the Abyssinian followers that it was time to forswear allegiance to the American government and consider themselves under the allegiance to the Abyssinian government. Now, the reason I'm saying Abyssinian is because this is what was published in the United States. The West, the Occident, often called Ethiopia Abyssinia, even though she herself called herself Ethiopia. The quotation marks framing Abyssinians and the derisive tone used throughout the publication, see, ironize and mock the sense of identification this group of Chicago African Americans felt with Ethiopia, then commonly known as Abyssinia, a remote country in East Africa that represented for them an alternative imperial force to which they could pledge citizenship and loyalty following a period when U.S. imperialism was at its ascent. As the Chicago Commission put it, the Abyssinian group was one of many that appealed to the dark-skinned races of the world and sought to weld them together in a great nation. Furthermore, the long imperial history of Abyssinia seemed to encourage African American identification, specifically with a regal line. Members of the group went by honorifics. This is in 1920 in Chicago, New York. Members of the group went by honorifics: the Great Abyssinian, the Prince, and sold a package for $1 to interested parties that included a picture of Ras Tafari, who would later become Emperor Haile Selassie I. I could read more, but let me stick a pin there.
Yes, yes, yes.
This was going in Chicago in 1920. Howell ain't get dipped till 1932. That's 12 years forward. And when we forward to this book, the first Rasta, Leonard Howell and the Rise of Rastafarianism, and we turn to chapter 3, right? En route to New York, right? It says, the only public account that Howell ever gave of his travels was to journalist John Carradine of the Daily Gleaner, Jamaica's national newspaper, published in Kingston. He claimed that he had left Jamaica at the age of 14 for the United States. My father wished to make a doctor of me, but I couldn't handle chemistry. When he learned this, my father abandoned me and cut off my allowance. I skipped from one job to another until I came upon an American Army colonel named Aites, Aites, who happened to be a globetrotter. With Colonel Aites, I traveled over a large section of the inhabited world, from Asia across Europe, where I witnessed scenes of horror in specific places as Austria, as the war had just ended. This would be the Great War. After my travels and subsequent return to the United States, I became attracted to the Rastafarites and afterwards returned to Jamaica to preach its tenets. Now, ones and ones would read this and still flash their tongue and say that Rastafari started in Jamaica, when the person that they hail as the first Rasta is telling you in the November 23rd, 1940 issue of the Jamaica Daily Gleaner that after my travels and subsequent return to the United States, I became attracted to the Rastafarites and afterwards returned home to Jamaica to preach his tenets. So it would behoove ones and ones to go seek and search who on earth could Howell be talking about is these Rastafarites. I've never heard of them. I have to make it my business to know who they are. If you're a Rastafari scholar, if you're interested in the history and the genesis of this thing that we have going on, of this liberty, of this way of life, and you heard Howell said this, you must go and search for the truth. You have to, or else you pump faking in the paint. Pass the ball. Understand? And 7/27/2026, we don't have no time for no pump faking. You got to shoot the shot. All right? So when I read this, I said, okay, he was in Harlem and he traveled all over these places. Now ones and ones must scour the internet, scour the Schomburg Library, scour UMass Amherst Library, scour all these places for who could have possibly been these Rastafarites. And when we do this, we buck up on Grover Redding in Chicago. We buck up on Rabbi Ford in Harlem. We buck up on Rabbi Wentworth Matthew in Harlem. We buck up on Reverend James Morris Webb, Chicago, Harlem. We buck up on all these figures that once you put the puzzle together and you understand Leonard Howell and you understand what he was doing, you understand what was going on, the many esoteric Eastern movements that were going on in these black metropolises, right? Many of these men were on the steamships, working on the ships in Cologne, Panama, and Costa Rica over there. I often say that if you got a hold of one of these jobs, you heard Howell say, once he buck up on Colonel Heights, he went all around the world. It's just saying all around the world, but if Howell could give us a doctrine like this, we know he was doing some deep, deep, deep studies. He wasn't just going here, there, just to bring back some sand, put it in a bag, and say, hey, I went to Austria. No, he was doing some deep studies, deep research. You understand? And we found these Rastafarites. So let the I continue reading. Remember, members of the group went by honorifics: the Great Abyssinian, the prints and sold a package for $1 to interested parties that included a picture of Rastafari, who later became Emperor Haile Selassie. Right? The black press was generally critical of the group, not only for the violence that erupted during the parade, for which Grover Cleveland Redding and Oscar McGavick, the leaders of the Abyssinian affair, were executed. They were hung. We're going to get to that shortly. But for their immigrationist ideologies, the Chicago Defender, for example, said the United States, this is our home, our country, our flag. Others even went so far as to pathologize the desire to repatriate. Regarding Redding, one article reported that the extravagance of his claims in... You said something?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Of his claims in promotion of homegoing expedition to Chicago to colored folks to their Abyssinian fatherland was cited as evidence that he might not have been mentally responsible for the disturbances that followed. Where have we heard this story before? Look how much time they throw Howell in a madhouse, an insane asylum, right? People were arguing that Redding shouldn't stand trial because he's telling these people to repatriate back to Africa. In
Yes.
doing such, he must be a madman.
Hmm.
So he can't stand trial for these charges. At any rate, a St. Louis newspaper said of McGavick that he was crazed with the back to Africa disease. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want that disease. Come sick me with that. Back to Africa disease. A black police officer who had been wounded during the scene said the Abyssinians had been parading through the streets all afternoon and acting like nuts. To my way of thinking, don't they? Didn't they call the early Rastas in Jamaica nuts, madman, cults, all these kind of derogatory comments? But Ethiopianism at this historical moment was a strangely attractive product marketed by and to African Americans. Reading, according to the Chicago Commission, fabricated an ancestral claim to Abyssinia as a means of exploiting credulous Negroes, selling the Abyssinian pamphlets and other materials such as the aforementioned Selassie portrait. She's incorrect here. It's a portrait of Rastafari. Had I written this, I would have made the correction. And propaganda flyer reproduced here. We've seen this flyer before. They call it propaganda, right? It's in the Balenta document. Ijan Shipra
Okay.
Bakela, if you're here, big up yourself. The most evocative among the components of the Star Order of Ethiopia's propaganda was an Ethiopian flag. The nation's flag, of course, is very symbolically freighted from the time we were children. We pledge allegiance to it, right? So the short of this, later on, McGavick and Redding were tried and hung. And I said this in the I Never Knew TV. I say this every time I give my sermon to my congregants. If you could do it live right now, we're live. We're live. Matter of fact, the Jazz Masquasi, go to Google, type in famous last words of persons on death row, and tell me what comes up. Famous last words of persons on death row, and tell me what comes up. Anybody in the chat, in the comment, what comes up?
Let me see here. We got John Wayne Casey, Gary Gilmore, Alan Warnos, George Appel, Clarence Ray Allen. And then it asks, would you like to explore the final statements of a specific historical figure? Or are you
Yes.
interested in...
Grover Redding.
Okay, let me say Grover. I see an article from the University of Chicago Press.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me share my screen here. We'll do interactive. If you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from. This is the Lion Voice. We're going deep tonight. Get your ital snacks. Get yourself together. All right. So it says the news. I have something to say. but not at this time. Redding had claimed that he was a prince of Abyssinia and was trying to bring the people of his race back to their homeland during a riot that
Does it
was,
specifically say Grover Redding? Google
yeah,
Grover Redding's last words,
it says Grover Cleveland Redding.
or if that comes up, because I'd have to zoom in to see your shared screen. His followers, Redding claimed, I got that. I give my word, oh my God, books,
Can you see it
This is
better?
something else.
This is something else. All right, let me.
Grover Redding's famous last words were, I have something to say, but not at this time.
Yeah, it
I
says
have
that here.
something to say, but not at this time. So again,
That
who was Grover Redding? Grover
yes,
Redding was the leader of the Star Order of Ethiopia, who responded to the call of who? Not Ras Tafari, not the jazz match Tafari, not Haile Selassie the First. He responded to the call of Ras Tafari, right?
yes,
He
yeah,
responded to that call, and once he saw that Rastafari sent emissaries to the United States to renew a treaty of friendship, he told his followers, look, part of the treaty was for equal cross citizenship, equal commerce. You understand? The citizens of the Ethiopia and the United States would be able to travel freely and conduct commerce freely. And then Redding said, look, we don't have to deal with the KKK, Jim Crow no more. Forswear our allegiance to this flag and pledge allegiance to this other flag, which makes sense. You understand? And they did that. They burned the American flag to show symbolism and affinity and unity with the Ethiopian flag. And to be a part of this Star Order of Ethiopia, you had to have a picture of Rastafari. What 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 did, for those of you who need to hold on to your chairs, hold on to your chairs. What did Marcus Garvey ban Ganguru Mirage, Leonard Percival Howell from selling at Idlewild Park at UNIA meetings in 1934? What
what
did
was it?
Marcus Messiah Garvey stop Leonard Percival Howell from selling at UNIA meetings? He said, "Don't do it here. Go across the street. Don't you cannot do that here in UNIA business." What did Marcus Garvey stop Leonard Percival Howell from selling? The same thing that Prophet Grover Redding was selling in 1920. Yet at this time, it was pictures of Haile Selassie.
Okay.
Forward then, it was pictures of Rastafari. Before
Aye.
Grover Redding was hung, he said, I have something to say, but not at this time. For the enlightened ones, the thing that he could not say, that was not yet ready, he could not bust the secret because the secret never bust yet. He had something to say. If you seen what he was saying, he follow me. I'm showing you. Bun down this flag. Let's repatriate. Let's head over here. I have a picture of this chap. He's the one. Follow him if you want to be down with us. You understand? And he said he have something to say, but I can't bust the secret yet. How will bust the secret? You
Aye.
understand? How will, well, it depends on who you ask. You have the Harveys who traveled to Jamaica from the north
Yeah.
earlier, but that's for another episode. You understand?
Yeah.
I know we
And
getting
then
down to the nitty gritty, but
yeah, yeah.
that
And
one
then
really.
also we have to acknowledge Dunkley, and we have to acknowledge Hibbert as well, you know. Yeah, I can hear I.
I can't hear the I.
You can't hear I? Let me know if the item can hear I in the chat. Let me know if you can hear I in the chat.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear the I. I hear the I. Let me
Okay.
know if the item can hear I in the chat. They are not hearing
I
I at
cannot hear
all?
you though.
Okay. Let me know. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let me know if the item can hear I in the chat. Okay, the audience is hearing I, so it might be the I thing. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in. Can you hear I now? Can you hear I now?
Leaving forward.
Yeah, leave and forward. Yeah, leave and forward.
You
Leave
want
and
me
forward.
leaving forward?
Yes, I. Yes, I.
All right.
Yeah, because he's not hearing I. If you love it, put some fire emojis in the comment section. We're going deep tonight, and I love how the brethren is citing his sources, bringing this is how we want to engage as Rastafari family on this journey. You know what I mean? It's a collective journey. Nobody's taking anything from anyone. You know, we are deepening the knowledge and we are exposing the glory that it goes to the ends of the earth. You know what I mean? As soon as people had the knowledge, our ancestors of Rastafari, it connect and took life. And even to this day, it continues to spread to the four corners of creation. And we glorify in the revelation, you know what I mean? It's beautiful, it's beautiful. And we're going to get into what happened to the Rastafarites. I saw your question, Bongo Wisely, what's the difference between Rastafarites and Rastafari? We're going to get into all of that. So if you love it, let us know, let us know. Greetings.
Ilya.
That I can hear right now?
Yes, I.
Okay, give thanks. So let's continue. Let's continue. Yes, we are live. Abel, Datoli, we are live. This is history. All right, continue with the vibration.
Yeah, so you see, the principalities of powers working hard. So I asked a question. I don't know if anyone answered. What did Marcus Garvey ban first Rasta, Leonard Howard,
Yeah,
Gungulu Mirage?
they answered the question. They said a portrait of His Majesty. They answered
Yes.
in the thing. Yes.
Portraits, several portraits of His Majesty.
Yes.
And Howell told you that he got the doctrine. They said, where'd you get this doctrine from? He said he got it during his travels and subsequent return to the United States. He learned of the Rastafarites. He then came back to Jamaica to teach his tenets. One of the tenets of Rastafari, of Ethiopian Orthodox faith, is iconography, is pictures, itrates of the Holy One, ones and ones, right? So itrates of the king is what Howard was selling. Itrates of Ras Tafari, whose name we are called by, is what Prophet, that's why I mean said prophet, and no guy nor guerrilla can't tell me otherwise. Prophet Grover Redding was selling pictures of Rastafari. So these are the tenants, these are the ones of Rastafarites who Howell would have learned and got the doctrine from. Another example of the Rastafarites are, so many persons have heard of Redding, they've heard of Ford, they've heard of Webb already, but not many have heard of Rabbi Wentworth Matthew.
Okay.
You could draw for that picture there. Draw for that eye trick there.
Okay, let me pull up that eye trick. Let me pull up. Hold on there. Let me pull up this eye chat. Yes, family. What a joy. We are going deep tonight. Lion voice.
So we have Rabbi Wentworth Matthew, right? The Commandment Keepers Ethiopian Hebrew congregation based out of Harlem. These were the original so-called black Jews of Harlem, right? This is before it got co-opted. And you could quote me and you could tell that. At any rate, this developed, the genesis is from Rabbi Arnold Ford. Many of us know Rabbi Arnold Ford as the musical director of the UNIA. He always pushed As one of the leaders of the UNIA, he always pushed the UNIA closer and closer to the far right, although ones and ones would not accept it because the UNIA was not a religious organization. You understand? And when they became that, they went off to the AOC, the African Orthodox Church, and created their own thing. But Robert Arnold Ford was always pushing the UNA forward. He wrote the, I believe it's the Ethiopian anthem, which we still sing today as Rastafari. You understand? He was the originator of the Hebrew Israelites, commandment keepers of Harlem. Now, this picture that you see here is the, let me get it, let me get the complete title correct. 1 second. I want to get the name of the congregation correct. So when you're looking them up, you have it correct. I should know it. Forgive me, Father. The Ethiopian Hebrew Congregation of Harlem, right? So this is on your left in the white is Rabbi Wentworth Matthew. After Rabbi Ford repatriated to Ethiopia and was working directly under Rastafari, Haile Selassie, well, yes, both. He worked under both, right? Because this picture was taken January of 1931. You see the picture of Haile Selassie? He's Haile Selassie now because 3 months earlier, he became Haile Selassie. He is no longer Rastafari. He became, in the flesh, the power and the might of the Trinity, Isis Christos, forward, to sit on the earthly throne of David in the flesh, as prophesied in all those great books. And to his left is Marcus Garvey. Where was Leonard Howell during this time? If Leonard Howell got dipped and returned to Jamaica in 1932. For 18 months, Leonard Howell was traversing through New York State Department of Corrections in Auburn and Sing Sing, right? For the herb. He was in Auburn and Sing Sing. There's no cell phone, there's no internet. You only have publications, you only have newspapers. So this picture is published in the Chicago Defender. This picture is published in the Amsterdam News. Howard would have already been familiar with the Ethiopian Hebrew congregation. One would surmise that this is why you got to read First Rasta. And it's why you have to go to Harlem, go to the Schomburg, try these streets. And I often tell ones on ones, put yourself, I'll use myself for example. I'm 40, I'll be 41 in what? 2-3 weeks, right? Put yourself in those times, whatever number it is. So like if it's 1919, put yourself as a 19-year-old up and coming Ras. If it's 1940, if it's 1940, right, and I'm 40 years old and I'm a Ras, I gotta find myself to the front lines because the battle is hot and the king fought in for his. You understand? And I gotta help defend it. You understand? If it's 1931, I'm a 31-year-old Rastafari with the knowledge that the emperor just sat on the throne 3 months earlier, right? So we have to think like how Howard was thinking. Howard would have been aware of this picture, would have been aware of these portraits, unless Howard just made it up in his mind to say, okay, let me start selling these pictures. It was done already. It was done before, and he told you this is who we got it from. So I don't know why ones. Well, I know why ones and ones are fighting, because of ignorance, error, or envy. One out of the three. It's no other. It's no other. And I trust that it's error as opposed to the other two. Because we're gonna have to call out mercy and grace if it's other two, right? So Howell is getting all these tenants, as it says in Shipley Bakela's Balanta document. He got all these tenants, the iconography, the pledge and allegiance to the flag, all these things that we know as Rastafari, they were already laid out before Howell touched Jamaica. So when he touched Jamaica, he said, here, I know exactly what I'm going to do when I touch home. Rastafari.
Yes, and Howell was selling nitrates in Kingston, famously. But we also want to acknowledge that there was Joseph Hibbert, Joseph
Yes, I.
Nathaniel Hibbert, Henry Archibald Dunkley, who are also preaching along the same time. Because Howell, I think, didn't return to Kingston until 1932.
Yeah, and they were there from
Um,
31.
they were there from 31
Yeah.
preaching. But again, it's all in the 1930s, and this Rastafari movement rose up from the 1919. So we have almost a 10-year gap in between the rising in Chicago and in Harlem. Also, reasoning with Sister Kathy Howell, who is the daughter, the youngest daughter of Leonard Howell. You know, she informed us that her father had a tea house in Harlem, and that, all of the black nationalists, Pan-African, anybody who was anybody would come to the tea house, and they had a secret room where they would have late night meetings. We also learned from others that it was also a ganja base, you know what I mean? So he was moving herbs and thing during that time at the tea house. So man would come in, bun them spliff, and big reasoning taking place. So this is probably where he encountered the Rastafarites as a UNIA member, brethren coming in, late night reasoning. We know the vibes, you know what I mean?
Yes, I.
A
And
gate.
all of these
Yeah.
things he reproduced at Pinnacle. Every last thing he
Yes,
reproduced at Pinnacle, but just on a grander scale.
exactly. And the other part that we have to set the record straight is that Leonard Hall was a man of means, you know what I mean?
He
His
wasn't a
daughter
pauper.
said, yeah, he was not a pauper. He had real estate holdings in New York. This is why when he comes to Jamaica, he buys so many acreage of land as a black man, you know what I mean, in the 1900s, before independence, pre-independence, you know what I mean, hundreds of acres of land, you know what I mean? So that is it.
And he's still again, you could find the Christ where the lepers and the lames at, and he still was with the poor and the needy. He was still
Of course,
feeding the hungry, clothing
of
the naked,
course,
caring for the infant, protecting the aged. You
of
understand? And
course.
nourishing the sick. So it's not
Um,
like he took his money and went, I don't know, to Paris, but go ahead.
what happened to the Rastafari movement in America? Because this is the big question. By the time we get to the 60s, you know what I mean, we don't hear no sound when things get hot in America. Really, after the war, we're not really hearing too much in the 40s, 50s. Can you give us the history? What happened to the Rastafarites in America?
The American machine became efficient during these years. What before there was no FBI. Remember, they say Garvey started the FBI, correct? Or he helped to. I don't mean to say Garvey started the FBI, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, Hoover built his bones on Garvey and the FBI, right? So by the time all of this is happening, remember the CIA formed in what, 46, right? All these post independence movements, national security is fully on top of it. And this nation, I don't want to say got caught up, but when you look at, see, many ones on ones, this is the first time they're ever hearing of Grover Redding. It's not in the, it's not considered a part of the civil rights struggle. This is considered, if you want to look this up, they're going to consider this black radical leftist. You understand? They're not considering this a part of the civil rights struggle, although this was a struggle for civil rights, because in Redding's caravan, he had guns and ammunition. And he said after they burned the flag, they're going down to Dixie to free the American Negroes. So, contrary to popular belief, these Rastafarites weren't on some one love, one heart, as it were. Let's get together and feel all right. Um, they were ready to take up that vengeance, is mine, said the Lord. You understand? They shed blood, and they blood was shed. This is why they're considered prophets and martyrs. Prophet Grover
Yes.
Redding and Oscar McGavick. But to answer your question, the American machine, when I say the American machine, the American intelligence machine, CIA, NSA, National Security, FBI, they became more succinct, and many of these movements went deeply, deeply, deeply underground, right? To know to the link, they say the link to Garvey and Malcolm X in Harlem was Carlos Cooks. So
Okay.
when one looks for Carlos Cooks, matter of fact, could you YouTube Ras and the Cast? Ras and the Cast speech by Carlos Cooks. Now Carlos Cooks, he had the African Pioneers movement after the defunct UNIA of the 40s. He was around from the 40s to the 50s, and he was a link in the 60s to Malcolm X as far as left Pan-African radical thinking in Harlem. And he wrote famously a speech called Ras and the Cast, right? And to be honest, many to call yourself a Ras in the United States at that time, it became like kind of like fanatical. Like these guys are way out. They tripping far out. You understand? It wasn't even Helen Lee mentions this in First Rasta. There's not many mention of it because we weren't taken seriously. So we were there, but we weren't taken seriously. We were considered what's the word? Hucksters, charlatans, so-called snake oil salesmen, all these things. Did you come upon the Ras and the Cast speech by Carlos Cooks?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. I'd ask the eye to YouTube it. It should come up on YouTube. Ras and the Cast, Carlos Cooks. I made that request because I wanted the item to hear the type of rhetoric that was going on, and that
The
would answer the
only the
question.
only thing is that we may get a copyright strike for it. I'm not sure. So if we
Okay.
can, yeah, skip. YouTube is tricky sometime.
Okay. Because that would answer the question as what happened to the Rastafari movement. Once you hear that, you would know that the Rastafari movement was alive and living and well in the United States. As aforementioned, it was just underground, right? Because remember, Howell is getting a lot of pressure in Jamaica. He himself had to go underground, as it were. And when we made the connection to what's the Idrin name? The father and son duo in 1960, where a man tell lie upon them and they got hung. One in Harlem and one in Jamaica.
Who was that?
Claudius Henry. Claudius
Oh,
Henry.
okay. Yes, 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 yes. Reverend
So
Reverend Claudius Henry. Yes.
so the original Claudie was in Jamaica and his son was in Harlem. And they were pushing the doctrine of Rastafari. Some call him socialist or what have you. But his son was in Harlem doing what Howard was doing, getting guns and ammunition ready for the revolution. You understand? It's fascinating, man. I tell you, this is a suppressed history of Rastafari. You understand? And the Jamaican government brought them up on charges of, I believe, sedition also, and they hung both of them, the father and the son. You
Yes.
understand? So if we could connect, if we could connect Claudius Henry and his son, as well as the speech of Ras and the Cass, it was alive and well in American metropolises, but it was overshadowed by the civil rights movement. Ones on ones were still chanting and trotting Rastafari, not as we know it today, but they were still chanting Rastafari or the doctrine of Rastafari or to follow this way of life or to follow him, Haile Selassie, his imperial majesty. It was just overshadowed by other movements
Okay.
for political and social rights as opposed to religious rights.
Give us the name of that poem again on YouTube. What was it called?
Ras, R-A-S, and the Cass. Caste, like Gandhi, and the
Okay.
Dalits and the
And
Brahmins.
then the other thing
Carlos
is
Cooks.
Carlos Cooks. The other thing is, let me I'll pull it up so we can at least see it. I won't play it because I don't know if we're gonna get a strike. But the other thing is, Bongo wisely asks, what was the difference between Rastafarites, or is there a difference between Rastafarites and Rastafari?
No, it's not a difference. That's just the terminology of that day. That's just the terminology of 1940. Remember, this is fresh, new brand. Howell is saying, I got this doctrine from the Rastafarites. It has developed, we know it as Rastafari. You understand? That's like someone saying, I shy away from the term Rasta. Rasta, when you say Rasta, you cutting your glory. You're stopping yourself of saying
I feel the same.
Rastafari.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel the
You, you,
same way. It's
you're
a
literally,
different frequency, different energy, because Rastafari is an Amharic word. So Rasta is not an Amharic sound, you know. You don't have that age, and you know you could be Rastafari, whatever. But once you take away the fullness of the man and the sound and the resonance, to I, you're cutting the power. You know what I mean? And I don't identify as Rasta personally. You know, I
said
big up the
speed,
Rasta them. Yeah, I big up the Rasta them, but I see Rasta do whole heap of thing I never see Rastafari do, you know.
you
And
understand?
I walk in the light of Rastafari, you know what I mean, without apology. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
But you know, just like we unite with other Pan Africans, if a Rasta is Pan African, because not all Rasta are Pan African. If a Rasta is Pan African, we work together, you know what I mean? I don't have
Yes,
no
sir.
problem, but just know, say, I and I is Rastafari.
Yes,
No
sir.
separation, no separation between
So,
I and I. You know
so
what I mean?
answer
Go
to
ahead.
answer the elder's question, there's no difference between the Rastafarites and the Rastafari, because we still chanting Rastafari said way. It is just a different terminology from that. This is relatively new from
You
that
said
olden time in
the
1940
Ras and the Cas, what by John Carlos? Was it?
by
Not John
Carlos Cooks.
Carlos Cook, sorry. All right. Continue. Sorry for cut you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, that's the answer to the question. There's no difference.
Okay. So in terms of the written record, is there any written record of the remnant of the legacy of those great ancestors that you called that movement? Is there any written? Yes, it was underground, but what traces? How do we, other than this poem that we're looking for, are there any other traces of the movement surviving in America?
This is a suppressed history. There's brand new scholarship being published on it. Myself, I'm doing works on it. Also, I want to big up from the University of UC San Diego, Professor Dr. Anthony Merritt, a Rastafari Idrin, who recently spoke at the Caribbean Studies Institute in June, and on a working paper titled Leonard Howell, Reverend Webb, and Marcus Garvey's UNIA, the African American Afro Jamaican Connection to Rastafari's Nascency in the United States, 1919 to 1931. So I'm going to link you with the agent if you don't know him as well. I don't know if he'll forward on here. He's a professor and he's writing some works on this. But myself, Professor Anthony Merritt, Raskimian out of Local 49 is doing great works on this. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up to the elder from the Line of Judah Society, Ras Iodonis. He's doing works on this also. So to answer the question, no, not from only what I've just told you and the resources I've just told you. If the
Yes,
agent
yes,
wants to join the battle, to join the fight in publishing this suppressed history of Rastafari in the North, welcome. But we're actively doing the work. We just took time out
yes,
this evening to share with the eye digitally what is going on.
yes, yes. Give thanks. Give thanks for that strength. And we have to acknowledge the great work of our brothers, the Africans born and raised in America, and their attribution to this great movement that we love. And this also answers the question as to why the movement was not called Haile Selassieites or Haile Selassie, because the name predates the crowning of the
Coronation.
emperor. This is why we have, we call ourselves Rastafari, because it was from the Rastafarites that the movement derived its
And
name
this,
from. Yeah.
really quick, this answers a question. Enough ones and ones love to say they love to say that oh, Howard claimed his divinity. His divinity was declared in Jamaica. These are just Ethiopianists. These are not Rastafarians. These are not Rastafari. They didn't trot Rastafari. So here is where we fall with emulation over veneration. So as told the message that I shared with my congregation 3 times this past Thursday on His Majesty Earth Strong is emulation over veneration. Veneration means to deify, to regard as holy, to praise, to hold in high regard. Emulation is to copy the best traits, to be like unto, to copy, to be exactly like. I went to the school and graduated from the College of Emulation over Veneration. You can venerate without emulating. You can praise and deify and say, blessed be Jah, Rastafari, until, well, he done fought already, so. But you could say it itinerarily for Ivor and Ivor. But if you do not feed the hungry, if you don't clothe the naked, if you don't protect the aged, if you do not care for the infant, then all that blessed be Jah Rastafari, go back so with it. You understand? You might as well share them all if that's all you're doing. If you're not actively doing the works, if you're not actively emulating the king and being like him, you're taking up space in the service. You have to move up in the service. You understand? So emulation over veneration. Ones and ones love to say, oh, they never hail him as God and King. Nah, but they changed their name to Ras and they burnt American flags. And they said, this is the timing we on. And we said, this is the picture of who we following. You understand? And they said, repatriate. You understand? And they funded Pan-African movements. You understand? And they wrote to the emperor and said, I am your loyal, your obedient servant. They actually did the works. So in this Iowa, it's emulation over veneration. Why? Because you can venerate without emulating. But once you emulate, you're literally praising him all day once you emulate him. Rastafari.
Mightyful. And I think that is what distinguishes true Rastafari. When I say you can see a Rastafari brethren when he move through creation, and those are the brethren who are emulating the king. These are the brethren who try sit up straight when they sit down. You know what I mean?
Rastafari.
Hold their core integrity. These are
Yes,
the brethren who hold their square when they stand with confidence and
His Majesty.
they speak eloquently, who listen intently. As the brethren said, they fulfill the creed: hungry fed, naked clothed, sick nourished, age protected, infants cared for, and we also add the ignorant instructed.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? So these are the ones, these are the attributes right now, and this is why we say you don't have to have locks to be Rastafari. Leonard Howe, these early ancestors didn't wear locks, but they were Rastafari in a fullness.
They did the works.
They did the works. Now the locks is a separation. It's a different level of intensity. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? To what that Jesus Christos Christ trod as a modern person in this time, I don't think it can be done without treading through the covenant and getting that rejection. Because what happens when you tread the covenant people will reject you just because of your agency, and
Yes,
this is
sir.
something, the ones, the Rastafari who don't carry locks, they don't know that part because they can just blend in anytime. You know what I mean? I and I that hold the covenant, anytime we step out, we're being judged by that standard.
War.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's a
Yeah.
different trad. You know what I mean? But that being said, we can't take away a one's liberty if I want to trad Rastafari because they don't have locks. Um, Again, I came into the faith, or the liberty, um, with some article brethren with no locks where would put most man to shame in terms of the works that they put in for the emperor,
It's
and
a
how they
portion of them out
represent.
there.
Yes, yeah, portion of them. You know what I mean. So we have to acknowledge those ones. Um, but the covenant is again is a next level, and that's the case in every different faith. You know what I mean. Usually the man them will carry the locks. It's a different level of intensity. You know what I mean. We
Yes,
see that
sir.
even in the Orthodox trad with the Bahatawi, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, as opposed to the other people who trad Orthodoxy, you know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean. So,
It's an
so it's a
ascetic
different.
lifestyle.
Exactly. So this is why when you trod under the covenant, you have to have a higher standard for yourself too. You know what I mean? And we want to get forward to this. This is a serious thing. We at the 2 hour mark. I'm gonna ask for just a little bit of brata. But this is a family man. I can't keep him up too late, cause baby, everything there, and you know what I mean. But one of the things I want to also reason with the eye about is, why do you think that Jamaica was so fertile as opposed to America? Is it because Jamaica didn't have that extent of intelligence apparatus, or what? What do you think, in your analysis as a scholar? Why was Jamaica the fruitful ground that spread Rastafari to the whole world? This little island in the Caribbean.
You could call it the something like as a perfect storm, or the zeitgeist, as it were. You got to start with the Maroons. You got to go to George Lyle in 1784, the missionary Baptist preacher from the U.S. that went down to open the first free Baptist church in Donga Yard, right? You got to start with what's the Idrin name that wrote Romanism is not Christianity? Brother Love,
Right.
Reverend Love, right? A forerunner for Garvey, right? And then we have to go to the first Black Christ, right? Not the second, the first Black Christ, Reverend Alexander Bedward, the prophet of Augustown. I have that book too, right? As well. Sorry, we don't do few. So the ground was fertile for it, and you also have to mention Marcus also as laying the fertile ground. Although Marcus didn't accept and acknowledge the divinity of his imperial majesty, um, his teachings did lay the fertile ground. His teachings did open the eyes, and when his followers saw it, they in fact left him and left the Garvey movement and became Rastafari. So it was the perfect storm on this island for this. And again, listen, you a man like Leonard, listen, I mean, I get it. I do get it. And maybe this is for another discussion and another topic, but I get why in Rastafari, Garvey is regarded higher or bigged up more than Howell. Although Garvey did not acknowledge the divinity of his majesty, Garvey told Howell, no, you cannot sell itrates of Haile Selassie, your God and King, in my yard. You have to go over there, sir. He called it a cult, not occult, ACULT cult. You know, like how they used to say we a cult. Garvey said this. Garveyite said this in 34. You understand? They wasn't with this new thing that Howell was doing. You understand? So I it baffles my mind, but I get it. I understand why. Garvey is regarded higher than Howell. Although in my opinion, we want to talk about philosophies and opinions, he should not be. You understand? At any rate, so yes, there's that.
And also, wasn't James Webb a member of the UNIA, the Reverend who said, "Look to the east for the coming of the Universal King"?
No, Reverend James Webb was not a member of the UNAA. He was a guest. He was a guest speaker at Liberty
Okay,
Hall when
okay,
this was said. He was a guest
okay,
speaker at Liberty Hall. And also, Garvey wrote a play. Garvey wrote a play about a black king and queen pre-coronation. You understand? So we really we can in this area we can't be willfully ignorant. Many of us could read. A lot of our elders couldn't read. You understand? Enough of us could read. Enough of us go to school. You understand? Even I'm the brethren and sistren. There are Ivans right now, incarcerated individuals in the state of New York that I am teaching to read that are still actively reading these scholarly books. So shame on you if you not. You understand? You have man that dunce from morning that end up in the prison because they dunce. That's now learning to read. That's reading Rastafari. That's now learning about Howell and Redding and them man there. So shame on you if you're not. Pardon. Well, don't pardon it. You know why I'm so vigorous about this iration, Aya.
yes, yes. Give thanks for the eye. Um, this is chapter 1. Let me just say that this is the first installment. Get used to this, brethren. We're gonna have him forward. I've been working on this for probably over a year to get this brethren on the platform.
And I want to say this
First,
too. You
yeah,
remember
go
when I
ahead.
called you and I scheduled this date?
Yes.
Earlier this morning, I gave the benediction at the swearing-in ceremony of the New York City Sheriff. The first time a Rastafari faith leader gave opening prayer to a citywide appointed official. The mayor was there, attorney general. I'm not bigging up my chest, or you understand this job works. I'm just letting it be known. So I had a plan, but I didn't even catch myself today to delve deeper into the studies. So I
Yes.
just draw for these books right here,
No, give
right before
thanks.
we started. So the later will be greater.
Yes, Queen Mother Moses is in the comment section. She said, I am so proud of you, Chaplain Floyd Jarvis, for taking the banner from I, an elder, as a young adult leader, leading the Rasses in the prison system from incarceration to revelation, education. You know what I mean?
Rastafari. Big up
Yes.
yourself, mama.
Big
Yes,
up every
sir.
time. Queen Mother Moses, one of our frontline global soldiers, now
Let
currently
me say
working on
this.
the.
Let me say
Yes,
this. Let me say this.
go ahead.
To the ones on ones who have done time in New York State that are watching, uh, it's a particular tribe that we have. You understand? So, for example, see, we're on the Lions Voice Network, right? So the Idrin, a fellow Rastafari content creator, Ja Bunny, he over in England, he did time also in New York State, and
Okay.
the lawsuit of Overton versus Lewis, 1986, and Benjamin Coughlin versus what is it? Coughlin versus Jaja. Overton versus Lewis, 1986. Coughlin. Oh, father, it escapes me. But that's how we got our religious rights in the state, right?
Okay.
Ja Bunny was one of the initial what's the word? Help me out here, counsel. Who
Plaintiffs.
claimants, yes,
Yeah.
plaintiffs in Overton versus Lewis and Benjamin versus Coughlin, to gain religious rights and to
Okay, give
stop them
thanks.
from cutting our hair. You understand? And saying that it's X amount of man and we need to have congregate worship. And from there is when they send for different ones on ones. They send for 12 tribes, they send for Bingy, they send for this. Enough of them shun I and I. They shun Rasta. They said, no, we're not going to prison. No, we're not going here. Until one reached out to Abuna Fox, and then he forwarded in. But to get the real history of that, you need to link with the Idrin Gilly priest Heron, who recently came home from about 30 years wrongfully convicted. He's back in
Okay.
York. You should have him on your show. He could give you the development of Rastafari in New York State prison system as as an incarcerated individual from the inception, and then I'll forward and give
Yes,
my version when I came later on as to the chaplain. But that is also a very rich
definitely.
history because it's hundreds, thousands of men that pass through there. You understand? And then it's a particular kind of liberty in the belly of the beast,
Yes,
double
we
time. You
have to do a
understand?
whole episode on that for true.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of I and I get trapped or even find the knowledge while trapped down in hell in the prison system, the modern slave trade. I and I definitely want to go deep and big up Jaboni. I had the
Yes, sir.
privilege and honor to seat up with his father in Jamaica, the Honorable Mortimer Plano,
Yes,
and
sir.
hear his testimony direct of his meetings with His Majesty. And, that's one of my treasured moments in the Liberty because I was just I and Mortimer and got to seat up, no time restriction. I got to ask every question I wanted.
What a joy.
Him,
What a joy.
you know what I
Oh,
mean?
what a joy.
Yes,
Yes, I.
he answered all of the questions, and my thing is just His Majesty. So he loved that, you know what I mean? Because we come in with a knowledge base as youths. So he really loved and full joy that reasoning.
Yes, I.
So that's one of my big moments. That and meeting Bongo Watto in Augustown. Two of my like seminal moments as a young Ras um dear, you know what I mean? Um Ras Maisha saying what? So how will jail and prison time don't count? We did talk about that earlier. The brethren did mention it. About Leonard Howell being incarcerated on herb charges and thing.
Yeah, Howard
Um,
was in Sing Sing and Auburn correctional facilities
yes,
in New York
yes,
State
yes,
between
yes, he did.
1931 and 1932. It's
He did say
documented.
that. Yeah, man. And big up if you're watching live, 71 people watching live. Big up to the
Rastafari.
global Lion. I know hundreds of people will watch this. This is a classic episode. Again, this is just part one. If you love it, make sure you're supporting Rastafari independent non-aligned media. We are bringing the information. This trad is not a museum trad. This is a living, breathing livity, you know what I mean? And so it's always evolving. We have not even scratched the surface. And, I definitely want to acknowledge the brethren who did a lot of research, Sifaway, who ones would know as Nathaniel. Um, but a lot of the information I know was researched by the brethren, the Balanta website. And if you watch our episode with Elder Pennycook, we went through the website. We looked a lot of the documents. So if you like this information, you can go to that. I think it's balanta.org.
Yeah,
And
balanta.org/May
yeah,
5th.
yeah. So a lot of the information and the documents, scanned copies of the documents, newspaper clippings, all of it is there. So we definitely, for ones who want to get more information, it's there. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
I
You're
wanted to mention Ras the Killer.
okay. Who's that?
So Ras the Killer, Ras the Killer was known as the foremost uh, corner speaker in Harlem in the 20s and the 30s. Over Hubert Harrison, over Garvey, over all these other ones on ones. There's a picture of Ras the Killer on my Instagram page. Um, he's standing on a ladder, and underneath the ladder, you can read it says Ras Dekiller. One, few, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 11, 12, 13. It's about the 14th picture from the bottom. If you are on my Instagram page, I don't know if I can share my screen, but it says Ras the Killer. Now, Ras the Killer, how does brethren get this name, Ras the Killer? You understand? Was he one of the Rastafarites? You understand? Well, when we listen to Carlos Cooks's speech, Ras and the Cast, he would notify you, he would notify us that these were the type of monikers that ones and ones took on. Ras the Killer, Ras the Murderer, Ras the Assassin. You understand? Not Ras Peace and Love Ras. You understand? We fought in with it. You understand? So were Ras the Killer, Ras the Assassin, Ras the Murderer, were they not Rastafarites? Were they not emulating the king and changing their name? And when you listen to Ras in the Cast, the judge asked him, who did you murder and what were you murdering? And he said, white propaganda against black people. Is that not what we were fighting against during the war? Is that not what Howard was fighting against? Is that not what Redden was fighting against? You understand? So again, listen to Ras in the Cast. I know we don't want to get kicked forward, but
Yes.
it
I,
would
yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks
yes,
like.
that's
So
it.
the ones them can go after this and go through with it. You know what I mean? So definitely we give thanks for the eye coming forward again. This is information every Rastafari brethren and sistren should know, and it just adds to the glory of Kadamari Haile Selassie. You know what I mean?
Amen.
It just adds to the glory to show that truly this is a global redemption. You know what I mean?
The global calling.
It's a global calling. You know what I mean? It's not restricted to any nationality. Wherever black man got the sound, saw the revelation, they gravitated. You know, that chosen few rose up and they did heal him. They did declare the glory. And this is not, as Abba Yehuda said, this is not a fate, so to speak. This is a history. You know what I mean? We don't have to believe anything. You know what I mean? If you
Yes.
just take Rastafari by the history, I always say, I don't need people to go into the divinity of his majesty. Once you acknowledge the history, we good. Because you still have to go call him King of Kings, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. You know what I
Like of
mean?
himself.
You still have to go do all of that. You still have to go say that the Europeans
And
came to
it's
the holy
sweet.
mountains
It's sweeter
and
them
bowed
times.
down.
It's
You
sweet,
know what I
sweet,
mean?
sweet.
So once you acknowledge the history, I'm good with that. I don't need to proselytize or try convert or argue with a guy right now. I just need to find like-minded family and do the work that His Majesty called I and I to do. You know what I mean? So I want to thank the I. Any
Is any
final?
more questions? Any more questions from the audience?
Let me see. If you have any questions, put them now. We're about to seal up. Let me look through to see if I missed anything here. Any questions? See comments. I see comments. Let me see. I see a lot of comments. I'm looking to see questions. Rastafari movement will consider the okay. I see Sifo Way is in the comment section giving history. All right. I see people sending in jewels. I don't even know what that is, people, but me give thanks for the jewels. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Give thanks. Let me see. Our elder Johnny Johnson said, until we stop the foolishness of calling each other Yardies, Yankees, and African booty scratchers, we are not going nowhere as a people who practice Pan-Africanism or perish. You know,
Well. To Johnny, we stopped using. I know for a fact we stopped using African booty scratchers a long time ago. So we're well on our way. Rastafari, go true.
Okay, Ras Super. I feel that the Livity should have evolved into the Haile Selassians or Haile
Negative.
Selassites?
Negative.
Okay, block on that. Block on that.
No. It's a simple no. But if the I want the I to block on that.
Yeah, man. Why? I mean, if the new name, you know, is Haile Selassie the first, the name that only he knew it, and all of these things, why not evolve the sound of the movement to the Haile Selassie eyes, or the Haile Selassie?
Because the call didn't come from Haile Selassie. The call came from Rastafari. You have to follow the trajectory. The government have to be on its shoulders. You have to follow the Triple Crown. You can't just. It don't go like that. You know, there's steps to this. You understand? What my father used to say, don't overestimate the event, which is coronation, Haile Selassie, and underestimate the process. Don't overestimate the event and underestimate the process. When you do that, you fail. You mash up. You understand? Study the process. You understand? Tafari, Lich Tafari, Dizaj Match, Rastafari. Once you follow that, you're gonna know about 1896. You're gonna know about Liz Giasso. You're gonna know about Empress Taito. You're gonna know about Empress Zaldit. You're gonna know about Empress Menelik and Ras McCunnan when he's going to Algiers and Italy and all these things, and his son follow after him. You're gonna know all these things. You're gonna know from 1916 the government been on his shoulders as prophesied in Isaiah. You understand? So you can't just go and play loose ball. You have to follow Rastafari before you get to Haile Selassie. Rastafari.
Give thanks. And I think that's a perfect answer, because the call really did come forward as Rastafari, you know, terrible and dreadful among the heathen. You know what I mean? Yes. So when we call him Rastafari, watch a weak heart tremble.
You heard?
You know what I mean? They don't like his name.
I forget to run.
That's why, you know, I write the name as two sound. I don't like the word Rastafarianism, Rastafarian, Rastafarian. I just say Rastafari because we are his people called by his name.
Tell them.
You know what I mean? So that is what, you know, there's no distinction, you know what I mean? Fully human, fully divine. You know, that is the doctrine that we come underneath. Which was protected by the church. But we transcend the church, you know what I mean? Just as Jesus Christos or Yeshua transcended the Old Testament, the Hebrew scripture, by being a perfection, not changing the law, but being a manifestation of the law. In the same way, Haile Selassie come to be a manifestation of the good news. Thereby we transcend the boundaries of religion and the church to becoming a new, you know, behold, I shall do a new thing. You know what I mean? This is a constant refrain in the Bible by the prophets, you know, and we are that new thing. And the key is that we should not be disobedient. You know, I think we have a lot of disobedience in Rastafari by not trying to follow the king. And this is why we don't have
Ethiopians.
This is why we don't have an economic foundation, because we follow the lie that poverty and righteousness is equal, and we can't, everything in Rastafari must be free or volunteer, or you're not righteous. Like, where did we get that from? That don't have nothing to do with His Majesty Rastafari, you know, and the liberty. So one of the things we're doing here is creating that economic foundation, because to build a school, to build a health center, to build anything, You're gonna need resources. You know, we're in the real world. His Majesty built Ethiopia with capital. So, that being said, I want the eye to let ones know if there's any way they can support the eye works, or if you have any works coming. If not, then we'll bring the eye forward. I know you're writing a book, but is there anything that ones can support, that the eye is associated with? Now would be the time you can share.
So if the I want to, and it's not for me, this is for the congregation, the incarcerated individuals. It's over 3,000 incarcerated individuals in the state of New York that consider themselves Rastafari. Many of them just consider themselves Rastafari because they have braids and they don't want to cut their hair. Or they want to get a kosher meal, or they want to eat a good meal on 5517 107 11 2 723. You understand? However, that is, they could forward for that, but that's my problem. That's my issue. I'm responsible for their spiritual and pastoral care. I go to their cells, I go to their housing units and meet with them. I minister with them. I let them know it's okay to cry. Let out those tears. You understand? I speak to them about the trauma that they're going through, that they've been through, that they're still going through. You understand? I notify them that the worst decision that they've made in their life does not define them. You understand them, and they're greater than that. In the Bob Marley song where he say, "Is there a place for a hopeless sinner who has hurt all mankind?" I I come in contact with those ones on ones every day. You understand? Have done or accused of doing the unthinkable. Yovas, I still have to pray with them, pray for them, lift them
Yes.
up in prayer, show love to them, show grace, show mercy in spite of. You understand? People often ask me if I like my job. No, I don't like my job. I love my job because of the job works that I'm doing in it. So it's not me that need these donations. It's the hydrants. So if you want to send donations to Chaplain Ras Jarvis, you can send it to Greenhaven Correctional Facility. Not monetary donations. We would take Rastafari books, Rastafari literature. If you have an old DVD of Countryman or old rockers, something, we don't want no shotters. You understand? We don't want none of that in our
Yes.
iration.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yes.
But we'll take some. We'll take some Step and Razor. You understand? We'll take some Bad Friday. We'll take some Who Shot the Sheriff. You understand? So if you want to donate, and you will put donation on the package. If you want to donate any Rastafari books or any Rastafari DVDs, the coronation DVDs, or the DVDs of when the king is in Ethiopia, or
Yes.
grandpa was an emperor. You understand? I had the blessings of seeing Princess Yeshi a few years forward with McConnell. You understand? So donations of books, Rastafari literature, and DVDs, because they still using DVDs in there when I
Okay.
minister to the
Does the I
classes.
have a copy of Iman book?
Yes, 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 I do. I do. It's in circulation. The man them having them.
Okay.
They reading it. Yeah.
Okay. Give
Yes,
thanks.
I.
Any
Yes, I.
comments?
Yes, I.
Any comments on it so far?
I put the state. I made the state order that. The state paid for that. That was one of the books that the state of New York
Okay.
had to get
Nice.
for Rastafari. Yes, I.
Nice. And
As
any
well as
comments
many books from the elder from Frontline in Chicago.
from
So
Frontline?
give
Beautiful.
thanks.
Beautiful. We love that. Any comments on I book so far?
Well, they you often now, and I know where they get it from now. They speak of the famine prior to the forwarding of Lich Tafari on 723. So that is a constant story or sermon that when I let them touch the mic, not me giving this sermon, they're giving this sermon. But now I know where they forwarded from. So it gives me great joy when I see that. So, and I see it gives the eye great joy too. So yeah, it's moving. We're getting the word out. You understand?
Give thanks, mightyful. So you see the collectives. I didn't know that. I'm hearing that live on air for the first time.
Yes, I. Yes, I.
That we in, that the works that we've done have reached the brethren them in
It's
captivity.
there, man.
So
It's there.
that made my day. This interview already made my day, but it's like the day does, my glad
Yeah,
bag
yeah.
bus. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
spring
So
anew.
we give thanks that the work bear them type of fruits there. So any final word sound to the global family before we sign off here?
Yes, emulation over veneration. To venerate means to deify, to praise, to worship, hold in high regard. To emulate means to copy, the good traits, the qualities of to be like unto, to be just like. Why do I say emulation over veneration? Because you could venerate the king without emulating him. You can say best me well woman fescidus or dumala kadu selassie hail selassie exio tashaline 1,000 times a day. You could say blessed be Jah 1,000 times a day. You could say Rastafari 1,000 times a day. You could praise him 1,000 times a day. But if you're not actively doing the work of the king that he told us to do, in the creed, in the Ethiopian constitution, in glorying in the Bible as he does, in taking heed to wise counsel as he did. You understand? Not leaning on his own understanding. You understand? Had he leaned on his own understanding, he would have stayed in front of the battlefield and let off the biggest machine gun and continue doing that. Then we wouldn't be called by his name. You understand? You could venerate without emulating. You could praise without copying and being like unto. But once you copy and be like unto, you're praising him all the time. So you might as well emulate him. Rastafari, best me well, woman, fescidus, adomala, kadu selassie, hail selassie, exio tashaline. Father, thank you for granting us grace and mercy, for watching over us, for eternally shining your beautiful face on us, and for giving us this time with the Jasmine Kwasi on the Lions Voice Network to share your word of emulation over veneration. Rastafari.
Haile Selassie the first. There you have it. Once again, Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, no water down, no shakiness, no loosey-goosey. We are bringing together the global family for this Armageddon time, and it's right on time. It's time for us to come together and to do the work. And we have the workers here. This is another worker. We return tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Jamaica time with the legendary radio host Bongo Jerry Small. We are going to be talking about the future of Rastafari. We're going to make the elder give us his vision, what he wanted to see as a young Ras, what he looks forward to seeing, where the movement should go. We're going to end Leech Tafari month strong. Wednesday night, we return with the Association of Rastafari Creatives, Educators, the Virtual ARC Summer Camp. We're recruiting young people. They're going to tell you about the curriculum. This is the third year of the summer camp. If you have young Rastafari youth, send them to rastafaricreatives.com. You pay what you can afford, but it's critical that we connect our young people with other Rastafari youth around the world so they see they're not alone. A lot of time our youth are trotting by themselves. They're in public school. They don't see no other youths trotting like them. This is an opportunity for them to meet other Rastafari youths around the world. If your youth is from 6 to 18, they're eligible to be a part. If their youths are under 6, then they need to be with a parent. So big up all the people watching live. Big up the global Lion Pride family. Also support. Become a member of the Lion Pride on Patreon. You know, send in a strength, a cash app, whatever you can do. Become an Ubuntu Lion Pride member, lifetime member, 100 US. You become a lifetime member. Support Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media. If you love the content, help us to build it into a full-time pursuit where we can hire staff. I don't want to be the editor, the on-air talent, the administrator, the booking agent, the graphic artist. We do all of them things there right now with the Queen, but for this to be sustainable, we do have to grow, and our business model is audience funding along with community small businesses. So if you want to support Rastafari independent non-aligned media and you don't have a dollar, comment, like, share, and just sound the trumpet. You know, wherever you fit in, we love the item. 79,000, we're on the road to 80,000, and we will not stop. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Is
the Abyssinians.
The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is
The Lion's Voice. They had no fear, no fear at all. It was Ethiopian in my sky. It was God, let it be praised. Ethiopian in my sky. It was God, let it be praised.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the Lion's Voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give all the powers to chant. Jah give all the powers to chant. Ras Tafari, the Lion's Voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the Lion's Voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the Lion's Voice. Raw.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. Them could never conquer the mountains. Thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. Now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Ras Tafari crown and a prince of peace. Simply use them to build up them countries.
Well, for unto us a son was born and a child was given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Ras Tafari. Lion with the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Rastafari, read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then, born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England or Cote d'Ivoire, no matter if you're brown or black like Qatar. Haile Selassie say fi end all tribal war. Time fi gather Mount Zion, fi drive solar car from the car straight to Zanzibar. Who we are, the sons of Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Rastafari, when he was grown in airplanes he fly. Then Rastafari, the lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Then Rastafari, we do everything.
iRoots Records, an online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Rastafari books. Rastafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from Frontline Publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. Special invite for the Lion Pride. Use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come.
321 Productions and RBG Alliance present at the door.
Emerges. For the woman painted purple unfurls a gripping narrative of empowerment.
12 for free.
A mysterious vigilante emerges. For the woman painted purple unfurls a gripping narrative of empowerment, retribution, and the pursuit of justice. Brenda and her group sisters bond together in therapy over their common struggles, but soon their group becomes the subject of an investigation. As the vigilante's actions escalate, the relentless detective, Officer Woodley, races to unmask the mystifying figure. For the woman painted purple is a pulse-pounding tale that explores the boundaries of justice, revenge, and the fighting spirit. This thrilling saga delves into the complexities of dealing with mental health, domestic abuse, and finding love after. Own your copy today. Visit www.devanigreen.com.
This is The Black Heart Man, Rastafari children's picture book with hand-painted illustrations and rhythmic storytelling. This is a journey you do not want to miss. We offer worldwide shipping, so order your copy today at www.degreospaintbrush.com. Alternatively, you can order your copy from TikTok. If you are interested in stocking the book, please email us at degreospaintbrush@gmail.com. Give thanks.
Jamaica to Toronto. The Rastafest movement rises again. This August 15 and 16, Rastafest 2026 returns to Little Jamaica in Toronto with reggae music, Rastafari culture, untold, arts, reasoning, and unity. But this year, it's more than a festival. Rastafest is partnering with the Rastafari mansions and organizations to support the Relief, Rebuild, Rise initiative, helping Rastafari and communities rebuild, restore to rise to their true potential. This is culture with a cause. Full joy the music, support the mission. Donate to the Relief, Rebuild, Rise GoFundMe through the link in the RMO Jamaica Instagram profile. Rastafari.
Save the date. Join us on Sunday, August 9th, 2026 at 5 p.m. for the 25th annual fundraiser for the Shashamane Foundation at the Silver Spring Civic Center, Great Buffalo Hall in Silver Spring, Maryland. Come be a part of an evening that helps transform lives by supporting quality education and sustainable development at the JRDC School in Shashamane, Ethiopia. Your presence and generosity help empower children, strengthen communities, and build a brighter future. Can't attend? You can still make a difference by donating at shashamane.org or by scanning the event QR code. Mark your calendar, bring your family and friends, and let's build a lasting legacy together. We'll see you there. Rastafari TV and Site Media are proud sponsors of the Shashamane Foundation.